I'm already hot. I'm fully hot already.
Cheers. That's because you took a sippy of wine.
Cheers. Of course. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That is good.
All right.
We just came back from a nice dinner.
Happy Galentine's Day.
Oh, first of all, no stranger to the podcast, returning guest. I think this is your what? Third? I want to say third. Third one. But you haven't been on since we got the new
microphone.
Yeah, so now it's gonna be legit. You could lower that if you want a bit. Like just push it down so you don't cover your face.
Oh, I didn't realize.
And then like, so if you want, I mean, it's up to you. You could go like that and then have it angle up. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Just play with it.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Do your thing. All right. So, my sister. I want to say third time that you've been on this podcast. I believe the most viewed episode is the one that you were on.
Oh, the clip
during COVID. That was the only clip I've ever had blow up like over the millions, and it was 3 of them on TikTok. This is when TikTok was like at the peak of just like giving any motherfucker that was on there.
Was that COVID?
That was COVID. Yes, it was, bro. Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
It was. I was dressed with the freaking Urban Outfit, the brown jacket, you know, with the little sheep collar. We were here.
That was fucking
on this couch.
COVID?
And we were talking. It was the mask fish story. That was COVID. Great. At least I think it was. But that was the only clip that I've had that blew up, and it kind of fucked up my expectations from there. But yeah, we're on to. A lot has changed since then. So you graduated college.
I graduated college
officially.
Thank
oh no,
you.
I think this is your 4th one because you were on with Sonia actually. Now that I remember.
did do one with Sonia. I forgot
Wasn't it
about
with these
that.
mics?
No, it wasn't.
I'm pretty sure it was. You were sharing.
No, we
one.
were sharing a mic. It was still clipped to the table.
It was this one. It was this mic.
No, it wasn't.
It was this mic. It was this mic. Yeah, but
no,
you just didn't have.
Well,
you didn't have the headphones.
We'll literally see. Like you could literally.
Yeah.
The
all
clip.
right. Yeah. Put a screenshot up right now, and I bet you it was these mics. I'm.
You're gonna forget
90...
to put the screenshot up.
No,
so
I
you're
won't.
just going like this.
I won't. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new dawn for this podcast. Second podcast that I've recorded this week. Pat myself on the back. Usually not that consistent with it, but shit's changing now. Before we get into like the main meat and potatoes of today's episode, which is talking about, I guess, your area of expertise, what you're pursuing in your career, it's all tied into that stuff. I want to talk about like the fact that we're in like an unofficial fucking competition for fitness right now, and our whole family, her and I, are the ones that are going crazy in terms of like we've found like a new.
I don't know. I just think it's like it's really hilarious because I brought this up to mom and dad.
What'd you say?
As a joke. I was like, we were just talking about the gym and like da, you know, kikiing about the gym, and then I was like, yeah, like me and Manito are low key in an unspoken competition right now, and they're like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I just feel like we've really gotten our shit together.
Yeah.
And have actually been putting in that grind, that effort, the more consistently, combined with like the slightest changes of diet or just
health, lifestyle,
whatever habit.
like that, yeah.
Especially like I definitely am not drinking as often or
while
like
we sip on wine
as much. Okay, well this week is different because you actually were the instigator.
I was the instigator.
Which is really crazy if you know anything about how we work.
Yeah, she's usually the drinker, and I'm usually the one who prefers smoking.
Other vices.
Yeah.
So. Yes, and they were like, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Yeah, do you not see? We're out here. We're getting shredded. We're trying. Summer bodies are made during the winter."
It's you haven't weighed yourself, and I am down. So I would say 232 to 235 is what I weighed before, and the other day I weighed myself after I woke up and took a shit, like in the mornings, which is when I also weighed myself before, but I was at 224. By no means do I actually think that is obviously like that full drop is fat. There's no fucking way that it is. But I guess it's a step in the right direction. Yeah. I don't really care about the number though. It's more about like how
it's not even the number. It's just like interesting to see the progress. Cause I think it started when I weighed myself. I don't know. I weighed myself and I was like, I literally texted him. I was like, yo, I'm 190.
You were 10
I said
beans away.
I'm 190
from the two Billy Club.
I'm 5'8". I'm 5'8", and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm 190." Like whatever. I literally had not weighed myself before that
you're
like
also,
years.
but you're also not like a petite
I'm not petite.
girl.
I'm
like
not.
you're not. Like you're very strong. Like
I'm
very
built
strong.
like a workhorse.
Yeah, you're Megan
workhorse.
Thee. What does Michael say?
Michael says you're the stallion and I'm the pony.
Yeah, he always be saying shit like
Michael was on the last episode or
two episodes ago.
Oh, okay.
2 episodes ago.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Michael. Thanks for all those quotable moments.
Hey,
but yeah, no, like for real though, like she literally.
I texted that to you. I remember I looked back because then out of curiosity. Well, it doesn't. The night before, I remember I came home from work and I was just fucking starving, and I made one of those cauliflower pizzas and I just ate the whole thing. I was like, whatever, because that's also
It's not
normal.
that calorically
It's not crazy
dense.
when you
No.
look up the Costco cauliflower pizzas.
Yeah, it's not a calorically dense food.
So then I
It's not like normal
remember
pizza.
the next day I just like weighed myself out of curiosity, and then because it was the beginning of the year too, it was like the beginning of January I think, and then I texted him, and then a week or two later, or like 10 days later, some shit like that, I was just like, oh, I kind of want to weigh myself because I actually like after that I was like, okay, let me actually try to like eat a little bit healthier. It wasn't even like a diet; it was just
Yeah, wait, what is
better
the but
management
this
of
is the
food.
thing that I don't get. What exactly
I don't know.
you don't know? See, for me, I
But
have
then
a clear
I weighed
reason.
myself. I weighed myself again, and I was 185, which is what I'm like. Oh,
But you've gotten stronger, which means you actually did lose more fat. I've noticed you've lost more fat, but
I
your
think
muscle mass has increased.
I literally think like I was like, okay, I actually should make this change to try to eat less like shit food, like junk food.
But what was the reason though? That's the thing.
Really
I don't.
It
You
was
just
crazy.
didn't have one.
It was crazy because I even noticed I was like, I feel like my jawline. I'm starting to see one. I because then he saw me after a while, and I even told him I was like, oh, you look kind of skinny, and he was like,
now we're
yeah.
skinty.
And I was like, do I?
We're not fucking like if
Whenever we say skinny, it's not
like actually like we're not like
Girl,
this. Obviously
no.
not. Our genetics don't afford that. We're to be realistic, right? Like we could be low body fat percentage, but we'll never be skinny. Like you and we just carry more.
I think it'd be concerning.
Muscle.
I think if we were to be whatever, because weight literally is so dumb because just genetics and everything else that goes into it. But if we were to be in probably the weight range that it would say is the normal BMI,
It'd be concerning.
I think I would look fucking crazy.
Yeah,
and
I would
you
have
look
to.
crazy
I would
too.
legitimately have to put in an effort to not try to build muscle. Like
You would have to go on the boiled chicken and broccoli diet.
no, but and also just eat like try to do what like fucking what's his name Matthew McConaughey did for the Dallas Buyers
did he
Club.
do?
Like where he was eating like 4 ounces of fit, like really
Oh,
really
yeah,
low
like
calories.
really, really cut
So
it,
your
yeah.
body, you look emaciated basically. Like that's what I think. We're just long story short, we're built
Cut
like
out
fucking
sodium.
sturdy motherfuckers.
Cut
That's
out
what
sodium so you could try to get
And
more lean
yeah.
and not bloated.
The thing we're literally just built like sturdy motherfuckers. Like you do, and I want to say this on air, right? Because this I do find this genuinely impressive. She leg presses. But today we did legs, and I saw her doing 5 plates on each side, not 5 plates total. Because I know like if some dude is watching this, they're gonna be okay, 5 plates, 5 plates each side, 45-pound plates, 4 repetitions. What 10 reps, 12 reps?
12.
12 reps,
2
easy.
sets of 12 because I warm up with 3 and then I go to 4, depending on how I'm
And
feeling,
then
you know?
the 2 is your
and then I
working
just
sets.
end with 2 of like 5 of 12.
No, but that's the thing. Like your legs, granted, like you do need to work out more upper body. I've told you this before because
I
it's
try.
just because
I've been trying. I've actively been trying.
well, for whatever reason, like girls are told you just constantly. I mean,
No,
for
my
obvious
thing
reasons,
is, I
the
like
ass.
try to actually work out like as intense as I do with legs, but my grip strength, I've been trying to improve that as well, just so I could also.
Yeah, but that's not a thing
do,
that's
like,
slowly.
RDLs
That's
and
not a
stuff
thing
like
that
that.
fastly improves.
I
like,
know, that's
it's
why
like
it's like
a
it's hard.
year. That shit takes like a
Okay,
year.
but you
of-
know it's getting better when now with RDLs, I've just gone to like doing 45s on each side.
Yeah, you
And
used
then-
to your grip used to shit out. Before
No,
you
yeah,
could
and
do that,
I
yeah.
could do those for like 10 to 12, and then now I can add 10s and do it also for like 10 to 12.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. It's interesting because like we never formally talked about this. Like, what is the reason that you all of a sudden started really going hard and put like kind of getting your shit together in terms of your health and stuff like that? Not that it was in shambles before.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm also just not intimidated by it anymore. I'm just like embracing the fact that I am just able to toss more weight around.
Then yeah,
Because I feel like in school, I was walking around a lot more for school and stuff like that, and I'd always just work out with my friends, blah 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 blah. But the only person that I've worked out with at school was actually
Hashtag
Michael.
shout out Michael.
Shout out Michael again. Me and him, when we worked out together, he even said like I don't lift or go as hard as I do when I work out with you, because then we're just literally like, okay, let's not be afraid of the weights and just
He's also
actually put in work.
dirty motherfucker.
You think I'm fucking crazy? That dude was putting 8 plates on. He's like, oh yeah, it's no problem.
On the leg press?
It was like a different type of leg press where it would swing out, but it was still like a leg press.
Oh, okay.
Like
so it's like a pendulum
It
leg
was
press.
like a pendulum, but you're sitting.
Mm.
And it was still like this.
He is I think he gets that obviously because like just genetics, you could just tell like he's one of those people that you could just tell he's fucking strong, but also like he danced a lot, right? Growing up. That's all legs. That's got to be all legs. I mean, you would know from experience.
I did volleyball. It was,
That's most of
But
that
now,
is legs and stuff like that.
I think I'm literally like, my legs feel more shredded, quote unquote shredded, but you know what I'm saying?
Leaner,
like
yeah.
leaner, but at the same time, there's still like a normal amount of fat that everyone has.
And we're only like how long into this shit are we? Probably like a month and a half, 2 months. I mean, I've been when I noticed, like when I made the conscious decision to try to change like lifestyle or whatever, it was like 3 months ago. But solid, like in terms of both of us working out and stuff like that, I would say a month and a half.
Yeah, because the results are actually showing up now.
Yeah.
But I remember I also was like, it's about going. The gym has been definitely like way more consistent, but now it's like all the other little things are coming together too, like diet, making sure you sleep well, making sure you hydrate well.
That's another big thing too. I've been
all
going to
really
sleep like
together.
sooner. Yeah, yeah. It's all coming together. It's all gelling together.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. So this actually kind of is a perfect transition into like what we're really gonna talk about today. So you graduated with a degree in
I just graduated.
What is it? Kinesiology and what?
Major in kinesiology, minor in biology from the Pennsylvania State University.
Shout out PSU.
Shout out PSU. We are, main campus, obviously. And yeah, I graduated in May, and I can't believe that I'm 3 months away from being out of school for a year.
That is a weird feeling. And then you're going right back into it.
I am. I'm starting PA school at the end of May. So it's really is full circle, because not to go like on a tangent of school, but I just remember making this plan in my head of like, okay, I'm going to start becoming a scribe at the hospital, get experience, build my hours up, and like just, get real good, just experience. I don't have another word for it because that's really what it is. And just seeing how the real world works in healthcare, especially in an ER. And then I was like, yeah. And then after 1 year of that, I'll be going straight into PA school. Like, I did not question if I didn't get in,
Yeah. You made the plan and you actually saw it through, which is dope.
And it actually came to fruition, which was kind of surreal, because you know how life is.
Like, that it'd be throwing curveballs.
Shit fucking happens.
You could plan as much as you want, and then like there's always gonna be some bullshit that comes up.
There's always some shit.
So yeah, that is to say, like, I'm super proud of you. I know the family's super proud of you that you made it into PA school for your on your first attempt, which is.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't know, I have to be educated on this as well. It's not like a guaranteed. It's actually not only is it not a guaranteed thing, it's also very difficult to get into PA school on your first attempt, on your first application.
Yeah, it definitely helps that I was actively working as well, because I know a lot of people that apply directly in from school. It always depends depending on what state you're applying, what schools you're applying to. Like, obviously you do your research and you get to know all the little niche, the minutia, the little details of it all.
You mean nuances?
Whatever the fuck. What's minutia?
I don't think you used that word correctly.
No, it didn't
I don't know.
feel right.
I don't know. So it's one of those things where you just heard it before.
I was like,
and you're like, fuck it. You took a chance. I don't know what the textbook definition of that word is, but I'm pretty sure you meant nuance, not
the nuances, the minute details. What the fuck is minutia?
I don't know.
Minutia seems like it should be minute details. Watch it literally be that.
I don't think it's that. I really don't think it's that.
Throw the definition.
I'll throw the another fucking edit here, but no. So okay, so that is to say, right? What we want to talk about is actually the healthcare system, but not the healthcare system, like the medical system, all that stuff, like your experience working in it, your outlook on it, your perspective on it. So I guess the first question that I want to start off with is, after your experience as working as a medical scribe, in the hospital. Now, how long you been working? It's 6 months?
That's also crazy. That time is flying, because I started training the end of May, also pretty recently after I graduated.
So it's been 8 months.
Yeah, I started the end of May, and then June was my first month training there, and then so I started there in June. Yeah.
So whatever that is.
That's 8 months.
8 months or something like that. So in this time that you've been working in the hospital, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the biggest surprise And what did you nail on the head in terms of like your expectations?
All right. My biggest surprise, honestly, getting used to 12-hour shifts.
I
thought that
it would be easier or harder?
No, in the beginning I was like, dude, that's gonna be like
ass.
I was like, shit, I don't fucking know how I'm gonna get through it, bro. Like, I was like,
because 12 hours is wild.
When you think 12 hours, you're like, oh my god,
it's half the fucking
that's
day.
the whole day.
And in the wintertime, that's like, it feels even longer because you could go in at whatever time and then it's gonna be dark when you get out.
And it's
like,
also
always.
It's not 12 hours like you get to be outside or like take a break and see the sun and like, you know what I'm saying? It's like literally you're in an ER.
Mm-hmm.
It's fast paced. It's always someone sick or
dying worse.
Or,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, or worse.
But it's exciting. It keeps you going. So I think that I was pretty shook when I was like, oh wait, this is like fine. Like I got really used to that. I got accustomed to that. So then there's also 8-hour shifts that I've also been working too. So it always varies. But when you work those 12-hour shifts and you get used to that, working an 8-hour shift feels like a
fucking
vacation.
Breeze.
It literally like
well, it's literally 2/3 of the fucking.
No, we're literally like that's a fucking princess shift. Like,
but that's the crazy thing is that like 8-hour shift is the standard, which is even wilder because it's the standard American work shift. But in Europe, motherfuckers be working like 6 hours. Like you know that, right?
That's crazy.
6-hour days
Maybe
are
I
very.
should go to Europe.
Honestly, like I've thought about it, but
6-hour days.
That's a thing. You didn't know that?
No, I knew that, but like I'm just thinking
because they appreciate work-life balance, and in the U.S., there's ups and downs to both. You know,
wake up at 8 and you're done at 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because so think about it, right? I'm pretty sure, and the French get a lot of like shit for this, but the whole concept behind it is like if you have kids, right? You drop them off, and then by the time you're done with work, you can have a full fucking time, like day with your child or your family. I do admire that, but there's also people who don't have kids. So like y'all motherfuckers are just out there working 6 hours, and it's not that I think that's bummy. It's that I'm mostly jealous because it's like, yo, like that shit's kind of sweet, you know? Like if that was the standard,
because it's fun to be a little hater sometimes about that shit.
It is 100%. But so you're working 12-hour shifts, and I've been in the situation where like I remember the first job I had out of college was commuting the fucking 3 hours a day total. So like an hour and a half there, hour and a half back. When you're in the office, you're like, fuck. And it's like a depressing ass office, like with one little stupid ass water cooler and like a shit ass coffee machine. And that's like the only snacks that they have. And then there's like a bagel with like, or not bagel, a drawer with like cream cheese that's like fucking 7 months old, like depressing shit. I remember being in that office looking and feeling like I've had to have been working for at least half of the fucking time, like 4 hours of my day. I look at the clock and I'm like 2 hours in. So by the time 8 hours hit, I'm like, fuck. Yo. So I could only imagine what your shit feels like where you've passed 8 hours and you're like, still got 4 to go.
You know,
4 is, that's wild.
There's days where it's easy. There's days where it's hard. It's really just depending on the
cases,
the ebb and the flow.
Like you mean the cases that
literally,
come in.
Yes. Like,
but wouldn't time seem faster? Like, wouldn't the hours in the ER seem faster if you had like a really urgent case?
Yeah.
So it does.
It's depending on the volume and the severity. Like if there's a high volume of little cases, it's like fine. You get
Is that what you prefer?
It keeps the day steady and not like overwhelming.
Okay.
Right.
So it's more of like a mental exhaustion thing too.
It's like, but honestly, at this point, I'm very used to it, and it doesn't feel as crazy as probably the beginning. Like when you first start, you're like, shit, this is like. Your mental exhaustion really is the first thing that you build that stamina for. Because if you're fine mentally, think about it. Like mentally, if you can get through it, physically, you will always be fine. Unless you're fucking dying of an illness, like you have the cold or the flu, and then you're going in, and that's horrible. Because I had a cold one time and I went in, but
that's a good perspective.
Yeah, like my mental stamina, even just like my physical stamina with, like I made sure that I wouldn't be sitting I always stand. Like every hour, I stand multiple times. Because I don't want to just sit there and like, no. And I always try to follow the doctors up when I should be. Mm-hmm. So that also keeps like the day going. I always like to talk to the people, like talk to the nurses, which is nice. Like in the beginning, you're a little shy. You don't know anyone in the workplace. It's like any workplace.
Yeah.
Except it's like.
But now you're chopping it up.
Yeah. I'm like chopping it up. We're all just like
chilling.
chatting.
And then all of a sudden somebody comes in with a gunshot wound
like,
or something.
Okay,
like, what the fuck?
Let's
okay,
run.
now it's time to fucking focus up.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Have you even ran into Vishal's dad? Because she works in the same hospital that Vishal's, shout out Vishal, that Vishal dad works at.
No, he said that, and I was like, bro, no.
Still not. Well, he
Because,
probably doesn't work
you
in the
know,
ER.
No, it's actually crazy. Like, the people, it's funny because anyone in the ER could get their, like, they can make their way around the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
But people always get, when they're from upstairs, they come down into the ER, they're, like, confused. They're like, oh, my God, what is this?
So
like,
the upstairs
a lot of people don't go into the ER from the rest of the hospital.
What percentage of the hospital is, like, ER versus non-ER? Is it 50-50
Well, it's just, like,
or is
the
it...
first floor section.
Oh, so it's
And
not
then
even
there's
that
all
much?
no, it's not, but...
So the majority of the hospital is not even ER?
No.
That is weird.
But people, if you really think about it, the only reason they'd have to come down if it's their patient or a family member.
Yeah, but why, if you have a patient, right? Like, this is how little I know about, like, the way shit is formally set up. I always thought that the hospitals are meant for, like, emergencies. Because if you have, like, a thing you need to get checked out, you just make a fucking doctor's appointment and go to, like a clinic that is separate from, like, a hospital.
It's a lot of procedures and also just...
Surgeries and shit?
Yeah, like surgeries, anything like that. There's the whole L&D floor, labor delivery. Obviously, if, like, you're pregnant or you have to go up. Because you're pregnant and are having
cases, yeah, that makes sense too.
The rest of it is like just being available for when there's patients that have to inevitably get admitted from the ER upstairs for more care, for more intense care, or for surgery or for anything else.
So is the ICU in the ER?
No. There's an ICU upstairs, an ECU, a BHU.
What's ECU?
I forget. There's also RDU. I literally forget, like...
There's too many acronyms.
There's a lot of acronyms. But the ICU is intensive care unit. ECU... emergency care unit? It's not as intense. I don't think. I forget. Don't quote me.
You should know this.
But ICU intensive care unit. BCU is behavioral health unit.
That's like
where all the psych people go.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a detox unit for obviously detox.
Which is like if you're going through withdrawal. So like what is it? Like you're strapped in a fucking.
No, it's not like that. That's actually in the ER that shit happens. Like if they have to.
So where do they pump your stomach and shit? That's in the ER.
In the ER.
Well, that makes sense because it's like
and then once you're stable, you get sent up. You can't.
Okay.
Like we're like the stabilizing people to then be sent up for more care.
Okay. So you're like the mouth of the hospital, but only for emergencies.
Yes.
The entryway.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the way that my like hospital is that we're like a middle ground hospital where we are like a trauma and a stroke hospital, the ER, but we don't have a pediatric floor. So we're like that middle step of like.
That's
if
why
there's a crazy case and they need to be
them...
stabilized, they always get transferred out somewhere if they need like a very specific specialty.
To Westchester.
To Westchester, to any other like Montefiore branches. But we're literally like the middle ground because we're so close to so much. Mm-hmm. And we're close to the Hudson too, so it's
like
enough.
The Westchester hospital, like when you have to transfer, do they go by car or are they airlifted?
If it's that they need to be airlifted, they'll be airlifted. But most of the times, it's just like the ambulance will go.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, I don't know any of this shit. So like, okay, so there's so many questions that we could just keep going into just the hospital, right? Which we could do that on a later podcast because you know you're my sister. Obviously, it's an open invitation if you want to come back on. But the shit I really wanted to talk about was, I guess, pertaining to like your studies, because there's so many fields of medicine, and I feel like now. In the modern age with like a lot of these podcasts, a lot of these influencers in the fitness and health space, and there's a lot of seemingly controversial and contradicting information, meaning like some person will tell you one thing and another person will tell you the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And I remember you were telling me at one point, I think it was, I want to say it was like towards the end of your junior year. It was like when I made one of those amazing Penn State visits, one of those amazing trips to Penn State, which Mike was there for too. Shout out, Mike. Like there's a lot of people that were shouting out, but you were talking about how you were considering, instead of pursuing like, there's like traditional medicine, and then there was, what was that the other one that you were it was like for a very brief period.
Oh, when I was debating going to med school.
Yes, med school versus what was the other one?
MD, like medical doctor versus doctor of osteopathic medicine.
Okay, so explain
DO versus MD.
Explain what a DO is.
So if I would have pursued medical school and becoming a doctor, like in attending, I would have wanted to pursue DO school because it does what MD does. Like it's literally the same thing, but DO focuses also on just the holistic aspect of health. It's not, this is a problem, this is the cause, that's it, that's all you treat. DO is more like, all right, you have foot pain, But that could also be because if you're overweight, if you have other health issues going on, if you have an inflammatory disease that is affecting,
Okay,
like
see, so this,
it looks at you as a whole and is like, all right, let's see how we could best treat this and keep the treatment beyond just like an antibiotic for this. I'm not saying that MDs don't do that too, because I know a lot of doctors
I
that are
feel like the
MDs that
practice
also do
is
that.
changing now a little
Yeah,
bit.
a little bit, but like I know for sure that that's what the focus is on in schooling wise. MD is very systematic in that way, I would say.
But is it also
based off my research?
Is it also just that you treat the symptoms? Because
Yeah.
that's like the thing that I've noticed, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, right? And I also just like health and fitness, I guess, even though I'm not, I guess, to my consideration, like fit yet. I like try to absorb a lot of this information, and a lot of the critique that I hear about like the medical industry, the healthcare industry in the US is that they treat the symptom and not the cause. Because if you treat the symptom, I guess you have like a returning customer. So any prescription you give out, if it's like a kind of like with my asthma, I have to take Montelukast or Singular. That's treating like a symptom instead of maybe treating the cause. Maybe it's not directly applicable there, but you get what I'm saying, where it's like it's a returning customer versus if you solve the problem at the root cause, it goes away and then that person's good and they're not now a paying customer through health insurance, whatever.
That's also just like, it always depends on the doctor too, because we even get people coming in to the ER, like the fast track area, because the ER has like, my ER has different sections: the pediatric, the express section, which is for like quicker stuff, like if you need stitches or anything like that. Oh my god, why did I say stitches? And then you have like the main ER, which is just kind of there for any other more major thing, and then the trauma ER, which is where like any traumas will go into.
So,
but basically we've gotten people that come in because they just get like, they'll go to an urgent care, which urgent care does this pretty frequently, which you notice as you're in an ER in a hospital. Urgent cares will just, you're like, oh, I have like a sore throat or something, like, and they'll be
just
giving
send
you
you to the
antibiotics, whatever.
bruh.
People end up coming in. It might be not always the case, but like sometimes it's like they didn't check, like, oh, what else is there though? Like, what other things are you experiencing? Blah blah blah. And then you find other shit that you're like, well,
That is tied into it.
that's tough. Like, now we need to treat this better.
Wait, but okay, so the thing that, see, there's so many tangents, because then when you said antibiotics and shit, like, there's a thing I want to talk to you about there, but let's stick on track, right? So I'm talking to myself out loud, but the shit with doctor of what is it?
Doctor of osteopathic medicine.
Osteopathic medicine.
Let me make sure it's osteopathic.
Is there, from what you can tell, kind of beef between like MDs and DOs?
MDs and DOs get along just fine. It's more, I feel personally like, I feel like the world socially, it definitely is getting better now, because not everyone's like, are you a DO or an MD? Like, all they know is
I feel like a lot of people don't even know the fucking
exactly.
difference.
Like, they wouldn't know the difference, as long as it's like, oh, I'm doctor this, you're like, oh, doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just think doctor.
But I know like a lot of people, probably since also DO is newer compared to MD, there's just a lot of like the social aspect of it. They're like
a stigma of a DO versus an MD. MD is more prestigious. Like prestigious.
Yeah, that's tough, because then you can go into a whole other.
But is that what you mean, that like society or people in general, like
yeah, they just, since they're so used to MD, like they just view that
as real
higher,
doctor,
when it's really like
it's the same shit, just different approaches to medicine. Okay.
Yeah, so DO is oh yeah,
osteopathic.
Okay,
cool.
MD, doctor of medicine, medical doctor, whatever, even though both are medical doctors, but doctor of medicine. DO, doctor of osteopathic medicine. And so yeah.
Do you know about that stuff of like the healthcare industry? A little bit. Well, do you know about that stuff about like the healthcare industry, and how like a lot of, so there's like almost a coming revolution in terms of like the finance side of the healthcare industry. Have you heard anything about this?
Kind of like for big pharma and shit.
So it's stuff kind of tied into big pharma, where and it has to do with what I was talking about before, with like, there's people who they treat the symptom and not the cause, because that's a returning customer. So it's all about profits and margins, right?
Okay.
Because it's a business. So there's a lot of people that are actually operating private clinics that do not accept health insurance, because the health insurance system is designed to capitalize off of symptomatic treatment and not like curing the person. So if they were to do
Yeah,
an
there
approach
there
through.
always does have to be a reason for something. That's also like my job right now. A lot of it is making sure that like you have everything documented, not just for the legality aspect of it all, like to make sure that everything that needs to be documented is documented for both the patient and the provider, but it's also for insurance purposes.
Yeah, you're crossing
Like,
your T's and
yeah,
dotting
because
your I's.
insurance is not going to want to pay for something if they think it's an option, right? Like, I feel like insurance, I don't know if I'm like just, I don't know about insurance much, but I feel like a big part of that is also just billing and shit like that. It's all about the money. It really is. Like, a lot of it's about like money and like, I feel
mean,
like in companies like that, they're not going to be like, oh, did you get this because you just kind of were covering your bases, or were you literally going to die
was it
without
like
it?
needed?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the thing that
Right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I think like, do you mind if I tell this? And you could not. I'm gonna tell the story, but chime in here, obviously. Remember the fucking time that I had to go to the ER in Brooklyn, but I didn't actually have to go to the ER, but I went to the ER.
And I literally said, if you would have asked me, I would have told you not to.
What? Where were you? You were in Jamaica, weren't you? I think that's when you were in Jamaica.
I don't.
You weren't available. Like, I didn't think to call you because it was like you were either. First of all, it was late. It was like midnight, and
Yeah,
second
but
of
you
all,
know I'm awake late.
well, it depends because if you have, if you have like a fucking shift at 7 a.m. the next day and you're working 7
That was when
to
I was
7.
in school, though.
Was it?
Yeah, and the earliest shifts that I would work was for my internship, and it was at 8.
Fuck. So yeah, I should have called you. That was dumb not to
I don't
call
think
you,
why. I just remember you guys like didn't. I think you just didn't think to in the moment because you were just like,
Yeah.
oh, mom, like, what do I do?
So I can't remember if I've fucking told this story on the podcast before, but I'll just give you the really abbreviated version of this. I have always had this like little red dot on my arm for like the longest time, ever since I can remember. And it almost looked like a window into a vein because if I pressed on my skin around it, it would go white. But if I let go, then it would turn red again. Almost like basically indicative of blood flow, right? So I don't know why this one night, like I was just showering and I was just like scrubbing myself and maybe I was itchy and I scratched. And all of a sudden, like the fucking cork of that little spot came off and I was bleeding, not squirting, but it was just like constant. It was constant blood flow for no lie 30 minutes.
Was
and
it
I
like
would put,
dripping?
no,
like,
not dripping. It was
it was
literally
just like a little.
it was just a
a
stream.
little like oozing.
Yeah, it was just
but
like
it wasn't dripping crazy.
it was like if I
Like
there's
big
a
drops?
picture. There's a picture. I'll put it up. Another edit. I'll put up the picture if I can remember. Viewer discretion is advised. I'm going to preface this. If you're squeamish, look away for whatever reason. But I'll put it up now. There in the picture, I'm in the shower. You could see that, and granted, the water could be diluting it and making it seem
Like
runnier. But
yeah, it always does that too.
but then
Was
even
it a
out
hot
of the shower, no, it was cold because I like taking cold showers now.
Okay.
But even in the picture, you can see, and outside of the shower is the same shit. Like if I didn't cover it, it would start running down my arm and then drip off of my arm. So it was substantial blood flow. It's not like I'm gonna lose a fucking liter of blood, but it's enough where it's like that little asshole should not be bleeding that much. Like it was weird. So I just remember thinking like, okay, if I put a paper towel on it, if I put a Band-Aid on it, usually like any cut, it'll just clot up and then fucking stop. I guess the pressure behind it was too high. And it turns out that for anyone who wants to know, really applicable to like people who have varicose veins. Those little cuts on those like veins, it's hard to clot because it's like direct from the tap. So what ends up happening is if you put a Band-Aid or any cloth, the clot sticks to the cloth. So when you remove that, it takes away the plug that's trying to form, and eventually it'll never form. So what you're supposed to do is either put it with your finger, firm pressure for like, and I learned this at the fucking ER.
Wait, before you say what you learned, just say what you did, because then I had questions.
So then, yeah, when I got out of the shower, I did exactly what I am saying not to do now. Like after I learned what I learned, I put paper towel on it because I'm just thinking like, oh, like, just cover the fucking wound. And I would put pressure. I taped it, everything. And every time I would remove it, still fucking bleeding. And I was at home doing this for 30 minutes. Legitimate 30 minutes. It was midnight when like 11, whatever, 57, whatever. And by the time I'm like, this is a problem, it was like 12:30. So I called mom and I'm like, yo, like, how come this shit's not stopping bleeding? Hannah was low-key freaking out. So then at that point, we decided to just go to the ER because it's not stopping bleeding. And medicine shit, I don't know. So I was just,
Obviously, you're like concerned. You're like, oh my god, I'm bleeding.
Yeah,
It won't
like
stop,
I
blah,
was
blah,
like,
blah.
do I have what's the fucking genetic condition where you can't form blood clots? Even though I know that that's not
Yeah,
the
you just have like a disorder. Where
yeah, like it's just not clotting for whatever reason. It just wasn't clotting. So I went to the ER and I was inside. Like they admitted me. I fucking saw. I was there for like an hour
they
because
put
I
you in a
Ubered there.
room. Then
Yep.
you were waiting.
Yep.
Then they finally saw
Actually,
you.
no, they didn't put me in a room. So this is NYU.
Were you sitting in the chairs?
This is NYU. Yeah, in the chairs. Oh, this was NYU, but in Brooklyn, Langone in Brooklyn, and there was some crazy like crackhead or something that was handcuffed to like a chair, and there was
Yeah,
like
be
cops.
that way.
Yeah, it do be
So
that
you're sitting
way.
in the chair, and then they saw you in the chair.
Yeah, and then she just
And they were just
opened the
like-
fucking
they
thing and was
saw,
like,
they were like,
"Oh, that's
okay.
it." And they literally were just like, "Okay,
Let's put a band-aid. Let's
Band-Aid,
check back on you.
gauze it. We'll be
Okay.
back in like whatever minutes."
Yep.
But it was like a special like where it wasn't clothy.
It was non-stick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
So
like,
then,
did it look shiny-ish?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So then after they take it off and they look at it, they're like, "Oh, it's perfectly
Good.
fine." Yeah, you know. And then they start explaining,
Telling
and I'm
you
like,
everything, okay.
"Yeah." So they
So
give me the whole rundown.
instantaneously, if you would have called me, I would have been like, how long were you holding it with pressure that it didn't stop bleeding? First question.
No, legit, like 7 to 15 minutes.
Second question, how crazy was the actual blood though? Because if it was just kind of like it would keep coming up and then it'd take a bit for it to like pool and then finally it would like drip.
No. Immediately after I removed whatever
would
was
be
covering it, it would
pouring
come
out?
out. It would come out immediately after.
Okay, but like dripping?
Like, yeah, like it would come out and then form a stream, and then
Right.
eventually when it would start dripping, once it gets to like the edge or whatever
And
of
you
my
like
fucking arm.
elevated?
Dude, I
Just say yes or no.
yes,
You elevated?
like I thought literally I was like this in the Uber, everything the entire time.
Okay, and then my next question would have been, do you feel lightheaded at all?
No, I didn't because the hole was so small that
okay, so I would have said, hold your finger to that shit for like a good amount of time. I literally would have been like, just hold it, put maybe like Neosporin, something like, because anytime, girls know this too, like when you accidentally shave off a fucking piece of skin in the shower on like here or anything, literally that's happened to me. I just hold it and I'll be like, okay, and then you could just feel it like, okay,
start
that's it.
clotting.
Not start clotting, but you just, I don't know. I feel like that would just be my initial response is like to hold it like this. Because anytime you see blood on your finger or something, don't you just like...
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I would have said like, if you're not feeling dizzy and you hold it continuously for at least 10 minutes and then it's still dripping so much blood that you're feeling dizzy, you're going to pass out, then I would have said go to the hospital.
So I should have fucking called you, and it would have saved me a lot of money because the point of this whole story and how it ties into the health
billing?
insurance shit is that after I did the ER visit and I went back home, the next fucking day I get like a charge
You get
on
your
my
invoice.
card, and it was $3,000,
First of all, how
And
long
I'm
were you
like-
in the ER?
less than an hour.
Second of all, you actually gave your insurance?
I gave my insurance. Yeah, I had
I
my
know-
insurance card and my license ID, everything. I just whatever they asked me, I just gave it to
Okay,
them.
because I also know, like, just based off of experience working in a hospital, especially in the ER, especially in an area where there's a lot of immigrants that just came to this country, they don't have insurance. They're not going to turn you away. They're not going to say, I'm not going to help you because
But
if
is it
they
illegal
die...
to lie about fucking if you have insurance? Or
I mean,
not?
it's just happened where people don't happen to have their information, so they can't put it in. I'm not saying to do that. Like, if you have insurance, you know,
Obviously
help
give it,
everyone else out and get that bag for the doctors helping you. But I'm just saying, like, that's also another issue that I probably would have talked about if you asked me. But the flow, the volume is increasing so much in ERs, especially like if you don't have insurance, because you know you're gonna get service that you need and the care that you need, and you're not gonna end up getting a bill because you don't have insurance. It's like, who are we gonna charge? Like, homeless people come in all the time.
But don't they just charge?
No,
I guess
you
that
don't.
makes sense.
Yeah, the doctors, they even are like,
So
we're
I
not
paid,
gonna get paid
so I
for
paid
this. Like,
$3,000 fucking. It was literally no.
you paid
I'm not.
$3,000 for a gauze.
It was 20. It was no, literally. I asked for, like you see those TikToks and shit. It's like, I asked for an itemized bill.
Yeah,
I called. I got in an argument
it's
with
also
some lady.
service. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, can I get an item? There's no items. It's just medical
How
gauze.
long were you in there? 3 hours.
Less than an hour.
Oh.
And they fucking charged me 20. It was like 28.70, like some random whatever. It was like $2,800. I'm just rounding up to $3K. They charge me that much for literally them telling me to stick my fucking finger on it if it happens again, and then they put a shiny gauze on me.
Because that's giving you the information you didn't have.
Yeah, but I was just like, that's not worth $3,000. I mean, I'm appreciative
That's
for the
why you
care, and
should
it's
have
not the
called
doctor's
me.
fault, but it's so fucked that like the system is set up that way where I literally paid an arm and a leg.
Because also, like, usually if you have insurance, you're not going to end up getting that much of a bill. It was also because it was...
We didn't meet our deductible.
Yep,
I'm under my parents' insurance.
You were about to hit the deductible.
Which, hold on. Do you remember that shortly after?
I literally remember...
Who got the procedure in our family?
It was like mom or dad.
I think it was dad got a...
Since our dad has like actually really good insurance comparatively, like dental, everything. So the deductible is how much? Like $1,000?
Yeah.
So you had to pay $1,000, then insurance paid the rest.
No,
right?
no, because it was an ER case. I had to pay the full amount, and then it doesn't work like that. Because I asked the same shit to mom. I was like, Mom, so if the deductible's $1,000, wouldn't I just...
And then gone into the ER, then insurance would have paid for it?
Yeah.
Bitch.
But they were like, oh, you didn't meet the deductible yet, so this is paying out of pocket.
They said, got your ass.
But you know what the crazy thing is? Mom and dad, I was thinking, oh, this is such a spoiled... I'm going to admit, this is a spoiled thing to think and
you
say.
would have thought that mom and dad were going to offer to pay?
Not for the whole thing, but they would have been like, oh,
you know-
like it was a deductible, so we'll just pay like whatever. Like you pay the $1,000, then we'll pay the difference or whatever. But they were just like, damn, that sucks. Well, thanks for meeting the deductible because then now they got to get their procedure for a discounted rate.
Dude, mom and dad
Can I
were
get some more
literally, they were actually going to do
more
that.
insurance?
They were going to do that. I was there for these
I
conversations.
wouldn't have accepted it. I to clarify.
I think I remember you saying, "Oh no, I'm just going to pay for it because it is my fault." Blah, blah,
I
blah.
would not have accepted it,
And
but
then
I
that's
would
why
have
they
appreciated the offer. But they didn't offer, and I was like, well, yeah.
No, I think that's because dad said you were very adamant about paying it yourself.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
So
dad
mom
gets me.
said no, but like
Because
it
it was my mistake.
And you know what mom said? She
No,
said,
of course.
"My baby."
Yeah, of course. But I was kind of surprised that they didn't even offer. But it is my mistake.
You also know what's a really good point about this, that the reason why also for ER, since they were like, you didn't meet the deductible for that, so we're gonna charge you fully, is because the person having to go see someone that said, I have a tiny dot that won't stop bleeding, is like that time they're taking away from someone that
They could be helping
dying,
someone else.
literally dying. Yeah.
No.
I just realized.
It's not.
But I just realized
whatever these hostile feelings that I'm communicating on this platform right now.
I would
is
be
not towards the doctor.
I would literally be pissed the fuck off.
Yeah, it's.
I would literally refuse. I'd be like, no.
It's not towards the hospital or the doctor. It's towards the fucking healthcare industry. Like the insurance. Those fucking people. Do you know health insurance? Oh my god.
Dude, that's a whole other conversation. I don't even want to open that box.
All I have to say is that statistically, if you look this up, and I'm not making this shit up, if you look up in the United States of America, what is in modern history one of the most profitable industries or sectors of business that's almost never gone like in the red, it's health insurance. Because these people are basically scamming the fuck out of like patients that need real care. People that just come in for stupid fucking injuries.
Fucked. It's actually very fucked.
It's unfortunate.
It's really tough when you... I'm laughing just because it's like very tragic though. Like when people come in, they need a procedure, but the insurance won't cover it. Like you can see the struggle to make that decision because any type of procedure without...
So you mean like you see people, like let's say they got a fucked up whatever leg and their insurance doesn't cover it.
No, I'm saying like when they have to go to see a specialist for something that
and
they got.
It doesn't
and it's
cover
like, you can see like the realization of that bill is that it's going to be monstrous. I don't know how it works for offices. Like I know that there are good doctors that do take like cases that they know like they're probably not going to be paid for it at all. Yeah, like pro bono basically. Because like also as a doctor, like that's just practicing in my mind as any type of provider, PA, MP, DO, MD, you know, everything. A good part, like a good aspect of that is that you can help people beyond just like the medical shit, like just knowing resources like that
you could help them out, give them a
also
tip,
like
stuff like
you
that.
gotta be like a good human sometimes for that shit. Like you can't just be in it for the money every single time necessarily.
Well, I would say that the people that like work, not the fucking, of course, not the insurance people, but like the people that actually work in the hospitals, I would if I had to bet, I would say most of them are good people.
They genuinely do. They genuinely, well, with everyone that I've worked with, have your interests at heart. And if not, they end up getting fucking fired. Like the cases always come back. Those cases that they fuck up, someone dies, or like or there's just something that went wrong that shouldn't have gone wrong, it always will come back in the end. Because even I get the tea, and it's crazy. Like, I've just heard about doctors that they fuck up so bad. Like, they lose their license. They can't practice medicine. They end up becoming a professor or some shit.
Did you hear the recent story that came out of, I forgot what I forget what state.
The one of the baby that was decapitated?
No. A surgeon was fined $22,000 and was sentenced to community service, which this is $22,000 and community service for burning his initials in liver transplants.
That's
so every time he was
crazy.
given a liver transplant to do, he would burn his initials. And
Why
it
the
was
fuck would he do that?
2 or 3 patients that it ended up like there was a court case. He pleaded guilty to it. And then he was fined $22,000 and had to fight.
First of all, like,
That is okay.
this isn't you signing a camp.
You're not a frat boy.
What?
Like, this isn't you. Like, why? Like, whatever. MD was here. Like, what are you doing? You're a fucking doctor.
That's crazy.
That's someone's liver. He burned his initials in the fucking liver with
He's like
a
signing it
cauterizer.
like, I did this. That's fucking crazy.
What is
Yeah.
that? A cauterizer. Wild.
Why would he do that? That's
And apparently,
dumb.
I also read another statistic that like most deaths that occur in the hospital, in like hospitals, have to do with like, not that like the person was dying, but it was like at the end of the day, you do have to realize like we're fucking humans. There's faults.
Yeah,
Shit goes wrong, and like people like it's not malpractice with intent, but like let's say I have to get a leg amputated, they'll accidentally amputate the wrong fucking leg.
Oh yeah, because
Like shit like
they
that.
just don't. Yeah.
Imagine the mind fuck on that. You go in thinking these people are gonna fix me right up. I'm in good hands. These motherfuckers have gone to medical school for like 8 years, whatever. You wake up out of the anesthesia and it's like,
That's the wrong leg.
hold on, that's the one that has like the bacterial infection.
Or like
Why is this one still
the wrong
on?
hip being replaced?
Dude? Oh my god,
You're gonna
that
be
is
extra bionic.
that is very scary. All right, we're coming up on 48 minutes here. It was supposed to be a shorter one today. I appreciate you coming on. We're gonna end this kind of abruptly just because we got some plans tonight. We're gonna chill, maybe make a little campfire. So I appreciate you coming on. First of many. Again, congratulations for making it into PA school on your first attempt.
Thank you.
We're all genuinely very proud of you.
We'll see what the future holds.
Yeah, and then when you come back, I want to talk more about like your experiences in PA school because that's
Gonna be fucking crazy.
you're putting 12-hour days now, but I don't even. You got all the brains, so I know you're gonna do fine. But Jesus, fuck.
I'm glad that my stamina's been built up for shit like that because.
So yeah, you prepared you were forged in the fire. You
I'm
prepared
forging.
for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good.
Yeah, that's how
That's smart.
you got it. You got it. No one in our family is
Hopefully.
like it does not have any. We don't have any doubts for sure. But yeah, thank you for coming on. I'll link your Instagram in the comments. I mean, Cata. I mean, you're my sister, so you're gonna be coming on a bunch more. Yeah, you already know the deal. Thank you so much if you made it to the end for watching this episode, liking, subscribing, all that social media bullshit. Until next time, play the like the thing. Play the outro music.
Play the outro.
There we go.
I went like this.
Okay, do it again. Play the music. There we go. Till next time, we'll see y'all later. Deuces.
Peace.